Hey guys, welcome to Budget with a July Dreamer. My name is Miranda, and on this channel I talk all things personal finance, specifically sharing tips on how to save, how to invest, as well as how to budget. If these topics are of interest to you, then do not forget to subscribe to my channel as well as give this video a thumbs up. So in today's video, I will actually be talking about my first rental property. For those of you who have been following my channel since I started, I mentioned that at the end of June, I completed on my first ever rental property and I am now a landlord. And I want to share some of the reasons why I decided to hire a property manager as opposed to manage the property myself. So in this video, I will be covering, some of the pros and cons for self-managing as well as using a property manager, and then I will also give you a quick snapshot. I think I filmed a short video of my rental property. It's a one-bed property that's within my area, so if I really wanted to manage it, I could, because it's not so far away from me, but I've got reasons why I chose to go with a property manager as opposed to managing it myself. I do have my talking points on my little note part here, so I will be working through these talking points that I wrote down to share in this video. So I'll start off first with self-managing. I must also mention that I have nothing against people who choose to self-manage. I think a lot of people do a great job, and in the end they also end up making that their full-time job, especially when you have more than like 5 properties. I think it's a good thing to do if you wanted to like make it your full-time job, just to manage your properties. So for self-manage, the reason why I think a lot of people go for self-manage is because, they want to have all of the control when it comes to how their property is, or properties are managed, how the entire thing is run. For me personally, I wanted to have some level of control, but not 100%. And the reason why I chose not to have 100% control is purely because of the type of lifestyle that I lead. I love to travel, and pre-COVID, I was traveling every single month abroad, and as much as I knew I wanted to have an investment property, I also knew managing it myself would be a little bit tricky, because I'm rarely around. If I'm not traveling for personal reasons, I'm traveling for work, and then I just didn't think I would have the time to actually manage. This is one of the reasons why I didn't do self-manage, but I know that there are a lot of people that are in the property investment sphere that prefer to manage their own properties. So that's pro one. Then the other thing, which I feel like all the points that I've written down here below for pros for self-managing seem to be a lot like cons for me personally. So the second point is the fact that those who choose to self-manage, they also know that they will be the main point of contact for the tenant. So I knew that that wouldn't actually work for me. Sure, they can have my number and reach out to me if something goes wrong, but I don't want to be their main point of contact, because I'm rarely home, and in the UK travel has opened back up again, so I know I'm gonna start traveling again and I won't be around, and I don't want them to call me when I am enjoying myself in the Maldives about a clogged toilet. That's not what I want to hear on my holiday. This is why I chose to hire a property manager. Then the other item that I had for pro was, it's good to manage your own property because you get to do, I think, almost everything yourself. Even like unclogging the toilet, you get to do it yourself. But the biggest thing about that is that you actually get to learn on the job, so that you develop some skills for your next property. Obviously those skills can teach you that actually this is not for you, you should have just paid someone, or you learn that this is something that you can do yourself and you don't need to spend money, pay somebody else to do it. So for me personally, I love the idea of learning on the job, but when it comes to property management, I honestly want to make the least mistakes that I possibly can. I have heard from a lot of other property investors that I'm following here on YouTube. In real life, I've joined Progressive Properties and read a lot of books by Rob Moore. So I'm kind of just like, I know with your first property you'll be making a lot of mistakes, and I've seen a few mistakes that I've made already since becoming a property investor, if I want to call myself that. But I want to minimize those. Even in my everyday life, my friends know I am more of pay someone to do it than have to do it myself if I don't have to. Why cause a mess when I can just pay a professional to do it and it will be done for as long as it needs to stay in place? That's, at least that's my belief. So I've been trying to make the least mistakes with my property, and I also like reading from the books and learning from afar. So I'm learning from the book as opposed to making a mistake myself, if that makes sense. So, and the other thing that I have on my little list why some people choose to self-manage is to save money on estate agent fees, which I will cover in this video as well. So because I have chosen to use an estate agent to manage my property, there are obviously fees associated with that. And the estate agent that I have chosen, they've got various types of management that you can use, you can utilize from them. So they have one whereby they just help you find a tenant and they do everything yourself. There is one where they help you find a tenant, they do all the checks that's required, they do everything that's required by the law, even like, on a national level, on your local level, and all of that. And then they've got premium, which just covers everything: inventory, cleaning, finding tenants, and what have you. I've gone for the premium because I want the best services, and I am glad I went for the premium. And this is not to say that if you go for a premium you'll be getting everything as good as I've gotten so far, but I completed in June, collected the keys for this rental property on the 2nd of July. By the 4th of July, I had a tenant already, and by the 5th, this tenant already signed. There were 3 who were interested. We went with 1. I obviously had to approve which tenant I wanted, so I chose this tenant, and this tenant signed the documentation, everything, the checks all came through, and he's moved in already, and I've already received my first rental income before I actually have to make my first mortgage payment. Well, I have made my mortgage payment, but I received the rental income at the end of July. My first mortgage for this rental property was on the 1st of August, so it kind of worked out in my favor. But I see the appeal to just do it yourself and keep as much money in your pocket as you possibly can. But to be honest, looking at my personal lifestyle, looking at what is required by my local council, just being a good landlord in general, I chose to go with an estate agent to manage my property. So the other items I wrote for those people that choose, like me, to use an estate agent to manage a property is that you will spend less time, right, managing the property, because you've had professionals, well, you hope you've had professionals who should do a professional job of looking after the tenant, looking after the property, everything being in, doing for your benefit and not compromising the tenant's safety or your investment, that kind of. So you have, I want to say, that peace of mind. But I also know people who've had bad experiences with estate agents. So far so good for me. Fingers crossed this continues. But it just allows, if somebody else is managing it for you, sure, you have to pay for them to manage, but for the estate agent that I've chosen, you choose what level of support you want from them, and so therefore how much from the rent they will be taken, as fees, that kind of stuff. And I know of other estate agents where if the payment is made directly to you, then you obviously pay them on a monthly basis no matter what. But I've gone through a path where the tenant pays the estate agent and then they pay me, because if in the course of the month there were any issues that came up with the house, so maybe the boiler broke down, all of this, and I mean, I've got insurances for all of these things, but if they had to call out for something that I didn't have covered, is a miscellaneous or unexpected thing happened that I haven't covered for, then they can just take the money, they can bill me, and I know that for the invoice coming up, they will just take the money from the rental income instead of me having to fork out then, unless it's a huge amount, then obviously I'll have to do that. The other reason why I chose to have estate agents manage my property is because I want to focus on other things. I want to focus on getting another investment property. Whether I'm going to do that in the next 6 months or in the next 12 months, I'm not sure, but I'm working hard behind the scenes to see what I can achieve in the next 6 to 12 months. So that is one of the reasons why I didn't want to be so involved with the property, if that makes sense, and I wanted to just take a step back, focus on other areas of my life, and focus on other investment opportunities that I'm eyeing up, and increase my investment portfolio. So that's one of the other reasons I chose to not manage the property directly. And then also, I think I just have this comfort level that I have hired professionals. I did some research before I went with this management company. I actually had the same management company for the rental property that I was living in before I bought my house. So my landlord then was using this company, and I was impressed. I had been before I bought my own house, I had been renting for over 10 years. I have gone through quite a lot of landlords, and I have had landlords that done the work themselves. I have had landlords that left everything to the estate agent, and I've had both good and bad experiences. So I have had one estate agent that is well known in the UK. They're all over the country, and I am yet to find a town or a city where they operate in and they have like good reputation. Like literally every single landlord that has used them to manage a property, they all have only bad things to say. That says a lot. But somehow, I guess maybe on the letting side it's great, but I remember using that estate agent when I was a tenant when I was at uni, and we didn't have a great experience with them. So, you know, I don't know, but somehow they've managed to stay in business all this time, and they're still selling properties, and they're still managing other people's properties. So I guess it's just some landlords have not had great experience, some have had, and maybe this estate agent property management company does some good in other areas, and this is why they're still around for so long. But my personal experience as a tenant all of these years, my own personal research helped me to come to this decision to use the current property management company that I am using. And so far, I have been happy with them. There have been some teething issues with their accounts people, but otherwise, my lettings agent, sales person, all of those have been absolutely incredible. I cannot fault their service. They've been great. Accounts, not so much, but that's a topic for another day together. But if you enjoyed this video, then please give it thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, then please do. For the property investment series, I will be sharing my budgeting videos. I will link the July budgeting video up above, and I'll put in the description bar below. I plan to share these on a monthly basis. I will also put in the description bar below how much it cost me to actually purchase this one bed rental property in the area that I'm in the UK. Looking at this property, I was like, if I'd gone up north, I probably would have gotten 2 properties, but that's a story for another day. But this series is one that I'm excited to continuously share with you, and I cannot wait to bring you on this journey as I work on buying property number 2, as in rental property number 2, but this is obviously my second property overall. overall. So thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.